Okay, you guys, so this is our review for Sons of Anarchy episode 11, I believe. And before we even get into that, I hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I hope you spent it with family and friends, good food. Understanding that it's not even so much about hitting the streets to go get your Black Friday on or Black Thursday on, whatever they're calling it. More so about just enjoying being around family and friends and all that stuff. Okay. And before I get into this, I want to say when this season ends, this episode, we probably have 2 more, give or take. I will be 9 out of 10. I'll be reviewing. If it's good, I'll watch the first few episodes and probably say a few things about it. But if it's good, you'll probably get a whole more interesting, excited side of me because it seems to be more of a reality show. It's probably scripted, but whatever the case. The Amish Mafia, don't ask me why. I tried to do Gold Rush, and I tried to do the other 2 guys who do like gold mining in Africa. I can't do it. But the Amish Mafia looks like it might just be all the foolishness that I need in my spirit to get by. Okay? Alright. So let's go ahead and get into this review because I've already tried to record it once and apparently it didn't record. So Tara is basically ready to go ahead and make that change, to jump out of the whole charming situation with the club and leave. Uproot the family, do something different. She doesn't really give a definitive answer to the lady who's asking her. Well, she kind of does. She's still interested in it. But at first she makes it seem as though she's not. She basically says she wants to speak with her husband, make sure he's settled in it. This is his home, this is where his friends are, and all these things, his businesses. And they're like, we can help him get set up. She just really wants to make sure that Jax is on board. That's kind of what she lets the lady know. But at the same time, that's not really the case. She hasn't really confirmed or made sure that Jax is on board with anything per se. So she kind of needs to do that before anything else. Whatever the case, she gave me a little baby Gemma vibe again when she was like, okay baby, when she was talking to Jax. It just seemed very Gemma-esque. The way that Gemma speaks with Clay is the way that she was speaking to Jax, and it was a little bit strange, but we're kind of getting used to the whole Tara turning into Gemma. I mean, this is just something that I guess happens when you're in the club, when you're in that kind of lifestyle. No matter how it looks when you're standing on the outside, when you're not in the head seat, when you're not the old lady, the main old lady, it's different when you step into those shoes, into that light. It's a whole nother ballgame. So I can kind of understand her apprehension or confusion or just bewildered or whatever word you want to utilize. I can kind of understand her whole vibe about she used to love being a sergeant. Now she's a wife. She's a wife of a biker. She's a wife of an outlaw biker. She has 2 kids. Behind her is a trail of death and destruction. But do you trade that in? Because she loves Jax, she loves the kids, she loves the club, she loves the guys. It's gotta be confusing. It's this duality that is very complex. You got one side, you're a doctor, you're a surgeon, you're a pediatric surgeon. And one side, you are taking lives or, dealing with people who take lives and break laws and do all kind of crazy stuff. Very polar opposites. So it's gotta be strange, but it is what it is. So the lawyer is in the clubhouse or wherever the hell they're at, and this is their resident lawyer. She's the one that they call when they're locked up in jail, need advice, make things happen. She's the go-to chick. That is their chick that they probably have on retainer. So she's getting kind of a little snapback from Jax. He's got a little attitude. He wants her to fix the situation because she's telling him, this whole thing with Tara and Otto could bring about some serious time for Tara. Jax is not hearing his wife going to jail, especially with her just trying to help with the club. And he just basically wants her to fix it. Fix it and contact me when you fix it. Handle this shit. This is what you get paid for. This is why you have a retainer. Now, we see Otto get a beat down. But this dude is telling me, can you hear my voice? Stay on my voice, can you hear me? And all this, I'm like, what the fuck are you bugging out for? But I've concluded, possibly, that this is the guy who speaks. He has, I think, the trach, the one that Clay went to visit, and he was like, I can't get to him. This is the guy, he probably either was brought in by him or brought in by Clay. One or the other, because something funky's going on where Otto's getting his ass beat in jail. And this guy comes in as almost like an inmate, and then he sees the guy, or the guy comes in again, and he's acting almost as if he's a lawyer or some kind of representative of, you know, I don't know, something. But he comes in like that, like he's an official or some kind of law guy. We don't know who he is. Although, he is the damn guy from Blade. The first Blade, if you watched it, the vampire from Craig who got his arms chopped off, he's that one. So, that's what we're going to call him now, the vampire, the Blade vampire guy. Until we get a name on him, like we didn't have a name on Nero at first that I can remember, that's what we're going to call him. And he was the same guy who was sitting in the hospital watching Tara and kids walk by. So whoever he is, he has a pretty good scope of everybody and everything that's going on. I smell Clay in the works here, or maybe the Cartess. Somebody in the works here. But this dude is one to be reckoned with. So we don't know who he is, but it should be rather interesting figuring out who he is. And we don't have long to figure him out before the season ends. So they gotta hurry up with that one. We're seeing that Jackson's starting to unravel. And as I said before, heavy is the head that wears the crown. You can't really know what it's like to be in the main seat, to be the guy who makes all the decisions and calls the shots until you're in that seat. It's like it's very easy to be, what is it, Monday morning quarterback or whatever. How the fuck do you tell somebody what to do until you're actually in that position? It's almost like a president. Think of a presidential thing. You can talk all you want, and you're a person running against the actual president about what you would do and how you would handle things. But it's not until you actually become the president that you see everything that you have to deal with. And every person who's looking at you wants something, companies that are looking at you want something, people that are looking at you want something. And you're just like, fuck. You know? So you can't expect that Jax would fully gauge everything and try to bring the club in and making the club clean and all that stuff, how it would actually be and how much destruction and mayhem could happen just trying to make something happen that's good for the club. He couldn't have fathomed what it was going to be like stepping into it until he stepped into it. You know, you never know what something is until you're fully in, and then when you're in, you're in. You got to figure it out. So that's where he is right now. But it seems like he's unraveling. Is this a lot of stress on him? There's a lot of stress on his shoulders. Tara wants to get the fuck out of Dodge. He really can't give her that. He's trying to still get the club together. I don't really think he wants to leave the club. It's a lot. And I think he probably feels like if he does step away, then what happens? Does the club fall back into the drugs and the guns and, you know, the other stuff? It's a lot going on. We also get to see that Tig is with Clay, and, you know, Clay's kind of just, you know, shooting the shit with him, giving him a little information here and there. He kind of pushes the whole dead daughter thing and your president hanging out with a guy who killed you or likes to burn babies or whatever. However he put it, he says that the Tig and Tig is kind of like, looks disgusting. You kind of gets a whiff of Clay doing some funky shit. Like, what's going on with you, Clay? Tig had been in his right hand for so long, so I'm pretty sure that he has a pretty good feeling about when Clay is up to something. What he's up to, who knows, but I'm sure he has that feeling when he's up to something. We also got to see Unser, and they gave us the whole, you know, just kind of zoned in or targeted in on the whole fact that he does have cancer. We have not forgot that Unser has cancer, and he was doing chemo and he's sick and he's talking to Tara, and you know, it seems like his cancer could be taking a toll on him. This little peakish, little white, little faded out. So hopefully we don't lose another character on the show. Because Hunter is there. He kind of plays like our middle ground in between good and whatever else. I won't say evil, but he's kind of like the in-between. So, Nero's old crew comes to the whole house and they want stuff from him. And Nero he's not really giving in, but the guys come and, they have a stake in the house as well. They have a stake in what money is made from these chicks and the clientele that comes in, so they want to handle the situation. They handle the situation, they're going to go ahead and meet his old crew, Nero's old crew, and give them guns and all that stuff. But it happens that it seems to be a little bit of a setup, so the guys end up getting shot at. Happy gets shot in the head, his ass is still happy. I mean, he's just like, that's right up his alley. That gives me more of a reason to want to fuck them up. I mean, it's just for him, it's all fun and games. So, you gotta love Happy. They get out of it, they're okay. Everyone's alive, nobody. So, they're basically on the good. But we see in a little bit after that Jackson and Bobby are rolling down the road and some Mexicans roll up and they take Jax. And Bobby is freaking out. They stab the tire on the bike and he's freaking out. But prior to that, Jax had asked Juice to make sure that he went and got some information because this shit has to be handled basically sooner than later. And he does, he finds the information and all the guys were supposed to meet up over there. But once they took Jax, all the guys get this information that they took Jax and they gotta go get him. They think it's Nero's guys. They gotta find him. So Juice leaves fucking Clay alone and Clay is kind of looking around, since everybody was at his house, why the fuck are they there? Well, of course it was because it was the information that Juice had found in the ceiling, in the vent, and he put it back in the ceiling, in the vent. But he left Clay alone in there and Clay moved the fucking paperwork. So now, how the hell did they prove that Clay is just trifling as all hell? We don't get to prove that. But what we do see is that it wasn't Nero's crew. It was actually the Mexican cartel, them boys. They came and got Jax. Jax is like, he ain't really scaring easily at this point. I don't really give a damn about what you're saying. Whatever you're talking about, I'm not here for. Clay had wanted more time before they tried to even do anything pertaining to Jax, but they made that call to snatch him up off the streets. It was very easy to make him disappear, per se. Well, just because we thought it was a damn Nero's old crew, Nero's ass is on a rampage. We get to see our Mexican superhero. That motherfucker is a motherfucker. He came through blasting. He didn't have no problems. Told dude he was going to shoot him in the head in X amount of seconds, and he sure enough made good on his promise, because that's exactly what the fuck he did. He shot him square in the head. Well, we get to also see that Nero is going to go see Gemma. And we also seen prior that Nero had, just a simple kiss goodbye to Gemma. And Clay had seen it. Now Clay is at Gemma's house, or their old house, however you want to state this. And, kid is macho, everybody's playing who pissing contest. They got a little too much testosterone in the air. But I don't know how this plays out because these are both very manly men. These are the men who are they like her and they want her for themselves. So it's like trying to snatch a fucking bone away from two dogs. It's gonna be a problem. Whatever the case, Gemma, she can't really explain what's going on to Nero, but she does let him know that she loves him, and she gives him all his little tongue down action at the door, which worried me because I'm like, did you not know that Clay is in the next room? She didn't care. I mean, I'm sure she cared, but she likes her some Nero, and that's whatever. So have fun with it. Just as last episode, they're trying to give Clay kind of a heart. They're trying to give us an emotional connection to Clay. I'm not here for it. I'm not interested in it. But, he basically comes clean and he tells Jax what's going on and all that stuff. And it's whatever. I mean, there's so much water under the bridge. He's done so many things that you can really trust him. Do we think he's changed? Does he turn over a new leaf? No, I doubt it very seriously. So in the end, we get to the point where we got Bobby, we got Chips, and we have Jax all sitting around and they're basically talking. Bobby's trying to get him to let it go. What you did was epic today. What you did got the club out of drugs and guns. It was epic. Let it go. Let this thing with Clay go. Everything can be tracked back to Clay. And that is why he is so hell-bent on taking Clay out, letting this be the end. There's no forgiving him trying to kill his wife and messing up his hand or his wife's hands and fucking killing off Piney. I mean, everything that's happened is somehow connected to Clay, and Clay's ass is just trifling. So we see Bobby, and Bobby goes to Clay, and he's like, "Are you here to kill me?" And he said, "No, I'm here to keep you alive." And we don't know what the fuck that means, but so we don't know if Bobby has something to do with this. If Bobby somehow connected someone. I was reading somewhere that someone was questioning, well, maybe, Clay is Jackson's real dad and John Teller was not his real father. I don't know. But whatever the case, whatever is going on, we only have 2 more episodes, probably at the most, and we might not have 2, we might have like 1. But like I said, I think we are seriously going to see some interesting things transpire between the end of the season and definitely next season, because they've been kicking it up a whole lot. I mean, it seems like this show has been getting a lot more hype surrounded around it. I've seen a lot more information about it. Whatever the case, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys next week.